Halima Nekari, Deputy Director in Livestock Production in the Range Resources Development Division, the State Department for Livestock in Kenya.
How the Kenya Livestock Master Plan will benefit to the population?
Yes, this is a very important plan for Kenya as a whole, because the Livestock Master Plan is a long-term plan which will help us intervene in all our value chains, all our livestock value chains, and we are able to now plan for the future and see how best do we invest in each of the value chains. Because from the data that we are going to collect and from the information that will be gathered thereafter, the department will be it will be very easy for the department now to attract investments into each of the value chains, and also to know where the gaps are, where the challenges are, and see how best we can now move forward in terms of livestock in the country.
I'm Joseph Karugia. I work at the International Livestock Research Institute. I coordinate an initiative known as RESAX, which is Regional Strategic Analysis and Knowledge Support System, Eastern Central Africa Node. And we support African Union and its member states in the implementation of CADEP, that's the Comprehensive African Agriculture Development Program.
We are in a workshop where we try to support Kenyan to develop a livestock master plan. What do you think about the strategy which is implemented by AU-IBA?
Okay. Us at the International Livestock Research Institute are very proud that we contributed our research, knowledge and expertise to the development of LIDESA, the Livestock Development Strategy for Africa. We are also particularly proud and happy that we are participating in its implementation. And as you know, LIDESA is about modernizing and transforming African livestock sector so that it can contribute to economic and social transformation of African economies. And therefore, its implementation is really important, and we would like to be part of it. We are working with AU-IBA to support 11 AU member states in incorporating or better incorporating livestock in their national investment plans. LIDESA is the instrument, it's the document that provides guidelines to these member states to incorporate CADEP, Africa Agenda 2063, the Malabo commitments into their national plans. So this is a very important document. LIDESA is an important strategy to guide member states. And as you can see, implementation is challenging. And it needs support from member states, from development partners, private sector, other non-state actors, to really realize its full potential. So it would be good for AU-IBA and its partners to really mobilize and ensure that all the implementation modalities are in place, and we can all rally our efforts behind this.
Okay, my name is Josephine Kamal. I work with the State Department of Livestock in the Livestock Policy Research and Regulations Directorate. I'm the Deputy Director there, and I'm currently heading the Livestock Master Plan Secretariat.
What is the importance of the prioritizing livestock sector changes?
Okay, we have several livestock value chains in this country, and they are different value chains in different sections of this nation. Like for example, if you go to the semi-arid lands, you have certain value chains that are good in those areas. We have, for example, the camel. We have the indigenous cattle like the ram, we have the Gara goat and such. So in every section, area of this nation, we have different value chains. And these different value chains contribute to the livelihoods of the people of this nation. livestock is key to food security, to improvement of livelihoods, for employment of creation. It's actually a very key sector in this nation that is contributing highly to income generation, to wealth creation, to employment and all that. So, and all of them, by the way, there is no value chain that you would say that is not important. Like for example, if you go to the donkey has been an important drought animal in this nation. It helps to ferry, water and all that. And in some counties like Turkana, it's a very important value chain. So what we are doing, we feel that all the livestock value chains in this nation are very important, and we need to look at them and see how can we improve them and what are the constraints even to their productivity. So we are basically looking at all the major value chains in this nation, and we also thinking about value chains in the emerging livestock sector. We have the rabbit, for example. We have things like quails, which are also key, especially for the youth. They are key value chains for the youth, who can easily keep rabbits. And in the era of where we are saying that there is a lot of unemployment among the youth, these are some of the enterprises that do not even require a lot of capital that the youth can engage themselves in. So that's why I'm saying all the livestock value chains, dairy, beef, the goats, the camels, the donkey, apiculture, very key.
And what will be the data sources for the development of the Kenya Livestock Master Plan?
Okay, we are looking at primary data and secondary data. Now, the primary data, like for example, household data, production data, feeding data and all that. We're going to get most of this data from the farmers. But along the value chain nodes, there's the value chain node from production, you go to inputs, you go to transport, you go to marketing, and then value addition, which is also processing. So along those nodes, there are those actors who can actually provide for us primary data that will tell us that these are the constraints, this is the cost of transportation, this is where we get finances, we are able to get service providers. So you'll basically be getting the source, the information or the data from the farmers and all the actors along the value chain nodes. That is the primary data. But we also have the secondary data, which you'll be able to get from maybe research findings, from studies, from policy documents that are already in existence, which document so many things about the livestock sector. So we are looking at that also, getting data from secondary information, like policy documents and studies and research findings. Yeah.
And how the Kenya Livestock Master Plan benefits livestock value chain actors?
Okay, thank you. Now, like I said, the livestock sector is a key sector in this nation, contributing to the livelihoods of the people of this nation. In fact, if you look at Kenya, I wonder if there is apart from the people who live in the towns, I don't know whether there is a family that will not have a livestock species. It could be, a cow, it could be a goat, it could be a chicken or something. Almost all the rural families in this nation keep livestock for food, for income generation. Now, this livestock master plan is a roadmap to guide investment in the livestock sector. And for a long time, we have had issues with support for the livestock sector because we do not have a plan that can show us what are the investment areas. If I want to invest, if I'm an investor, even a farmer is an investor, and I come into this nation, or I'm in County A, if I'm in Turkana, what are some of the value chains that I can be able to invest in, and what will be the returns? Now, the Livestock Master Plan is going to do an analysis of the value chains that I've mentioned, and we're going to lay down the baseline data. After the baseline data, you're going to be able to do forecasting in the next 15 years or so. Where is the livestock sector going to be? What is going to be the demand, for example, of meat products? And if the demand is going to be X, then what do we need to do to be able to attain that? At the moment, we are actually not able to meet the demand for meat in the nation. So if currently we are not able to meet, what about in 2030 when we are projecting that the population will have grown maybe to 60 million? And what about 2050 when the population goes up? So we must do something to ensure that we will be able to feed our population, and not only feed, that the people who are who are investing in the livestock sector are getting returns. They're getting value for their money. So basically, we want to be able to have targeted investment in the livestock sector. Somebody is able to choose that I'll invest in this sector, I'll invest in this one in county A, in county B. Then the counties will also be able to, use the livestock master plan to be able to decide in their CIDPs that for our county, this livestock value chain is best suited for our county, and I think we can concentrate on it. Instead of when we just, you invest in everything, somebody is doing dairy, is doing this and that, but if we ask them what are the returns, what are your margins, they may not be able to tell you because they really do not even have the data. Yeah, so basically we know that, we believe that this livestock master plan is going to turn around the livestock sector.
And what effect will the master plan have to other sectors like fishing or crops?
Okay. I'm thinking, for example, in crops. Feed in livestock is a very serious constraint. We actually have one of the things that have made livestock farming quite expensive and costly is the cost of feed. I think maybe you have heard it, people saying the feed is so expensive and all that. Number one, because our feed uses cereals, especially maize. And maize, of course, is also the staple food for Kenyans. So you see that competition. But once we are able to show what are the feed requirements, we hope that there are people who can be able to engage themselves in growing feed. Maize for feeding animals, not maize for food, for human food. We're looking at the cotton sector also. Cotton seed cake. We need that. We actually import. So once we are able to bring this data together, I believe we should be able to work together with the value chains in crops so that they can supply the feed that we need in the livestock sector. And then again, our farmers are integrated. They do mixed farming. So they are doing crops, they are doing, they're doing livestock. So you're talking about the same farmer actually. So it is the same farmer who's going to benefit, but you can see how we can actually integrate the sectors. Fish, we have the fish meal, also for feed. Yeah, which is so also as the sector grows, we're going to see a lot of fish also, a lot of growth also in the fishing sector. So they're actually integrated in the agriculture sector together. It's more or less the same people doing these value chains. So I see a lot of integration so that we can ensure this sector moves forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There is chronic underinvestment in the livestock sector. Although livestock contributes to immensely to the development or national development objectives of many countries, or the SDG. It's in most cases under budget, and even the budget is not based on evidence. So what the Livestock Master Plan tries to do is to come up with a budget and investment plan based on evidence. And then it has also a component of capacity building. It's very participatory. We develop the plan together with the national experts, like what we have now here for Kenya. There are several trainings, and we work also very closely with a team of experts. And we have also a steering committee that oversee the whole process of the LMP development. The livestock development has three basic, main components. It starts with the diagnosis phase. We call it livestock sector analysis. This stage where we are now for Kenyan LMP, we do data collection. Now we try to see also what's the current contribution of the sector. We try to assess the policies and then the main challenges within each value chain, priority value chain. Then this sets a baseline for the next step, which is the livestock sector strategy. This is a 15-year strategy, and then it uses the baseline from the livestock sector analysis to do some foresight analysis also, to just see what will be the contribution of the sector in the coming 15 years. So from this livestock sector strategy, then we develop a value chain specific roadmaps or investment plan. This is very 5-year investment plan very detailed, and it's also well budgeted. It has the investment context, the areas of intervention. We identify the source of the investment. We also see the return on investment also for each value chain analysis. So maybe the challenge that I can say is we have developed this livestock master plan in many countries, but some time ago we had some challenges to also follow up if these LMPs were implemented or not. But now we're working with our partners also. We come up with a strategy or model to support these countries when they are implementing their LMPs. So now we are assessing the stage of implementation of these LMPs in these past countries, and then we are also ready to work with them to support them in implementing these LMPs.
What advice to countries which are still hesitate to develop or improve their LMP?
I'm not sure if there are any countries that are hesitant to have livestock master plan. What I see is that there is a lot of demand on livestock master plan. We are currently running 3 livestock master plan: Kenya and Odisha state in India, and the Gambia in West Africa. Maybe it's good for these countries, if there are any, to see the impact of this livestock master plan. I can give you some example. For example, in Ethiopia, once they developed the livestock master plan, they have used it to inform there was the plan, national plan that they were developing. So they have used the livestock master plan to inform this. And then also it informed their partners like World Bank to develop a follow-up project specifically for livestock. And the same for Indiha in India. After we developed the LMP, their partner, International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, they have used the LMP also to come up with follow-up project for value chain development. So even for Rwanda and Tanzania, they have used it also to their LMPs to inform their National Agriculture Investment Plan. So maybe they have to see the impact of these LMPs, and then I can also give you that the demand is growing. Like now we are working with EU-IBA. You have this Lives for Africa project. We identified some countries that we can develop LMP. We have developed a proposal for Egypt. We have identified also some countries like Botswana and Chad to make a follow-up. So I think the demand is growing. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My name is Dr. Christopher Wanga. I am the chairman of the National Technical Committee on the Kenya Livestock Master Plan, and also I serve as a director for livestock policy, research and regulations in the State Department for Livestock, the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperatives.
What is the importance of the prioritized livestock sector chain and data sources for the development of the Kenya Livestock Master Plan?
This country has a number of livestock resources, and considering that Kenya is 80% arid and semi-arid, we have the challenge of ensuring that we are able to provide choices for our farmers, choices for the investors in the livestock sector. So prioritize livestock sector value chains is extremely important so that we get all the investors, all the farmers, all the county governments on board on focusing on the specific areas of intervention. And very critical is what do we want to do, and that therefore data that is relevant in planning for these value chains is of great importance.
How the Kenya Livestock Master Plan benefits livestock value chain actors?
The master plan is going to place this country into critical zones where you can choose which livestock investment options you can make. So the essence of the livestock master plan for the value chain actors You will know where you can invest in dairy, you will know where you can invest in camel, you know where you can invest in donkey, you know where you can invest in poultry. So the competitive advantage that will be given to the persons, governments, partners who are willing to support the livestock sector, it will help them to make very quick decisions on, depending on their focus, where to put the resources for better returns and support to livelihoods.
AUIBA, through the Livestock Development Strategy for Africa, supports Kenya Livestock Master Plan. What do you think about this strategy?
This is the best thing that could have happened. A lot of times AUIBA works through the regional economic communities, and we find that trickling effect back to the countries becomes very minimal. But this support, I can assure you, will go a long way in ensuring that Kenya is able to deliver on a livestock master plan that is owned not only by the national government, by the county government, and the entire livestock stakeholder groups, which to me, and for the benefit of AUIBA, I think at the end of the year, when we evaluate what we've delivered, it will also help other countries in benchmarking, in developing their own homegrown livestock master plans, considering that the livestock resources in Africa is one of the backbone of many of the economies.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I am Dr. Boniface Kaberia, the livestock sector manager with Kenya Markets Trust.
What do you think about this process of development of the Kenya Livestock Master Plan?
I will remember how the process started. It started one day when we were actually doing the launching of the livestock policy in 2019, February, March, and there was the PS, there was somebody from FAO, somebody from World Bank, and KMT, and having a breakfast meeting convened by Dr. Wanga, and in that we were asking ourselves what will help actually the country deliver its policy. And the discussion revolved around a livestock master plan. From that conceptualization of that idea, I'm so excited to see that right now we have made steps and the momentum is there. And not only are we now the people that started with the idea, but we've also managed to get other development partners like African Union, who actually are guiding in terms of the strategy for Africa into this process, getting our researchers from ILRI and experts from ILRI into this process, and I think the process is going on well. Looking at what has happened in the last 1 week, the commitment from the National Technical Committee, the commitment from the donors, AUIBA, Kenya Market Trust, ILRI, USAID, and the commitment from the technical groups and the various people invited into the process is great, and I think we are headed in the right direction to deliver a great livestock master plan.
What will be KMT contribution to the implementation of Kenya Livestock Master Plan?
Kenya Market strategy for the next 5 years, 2021 to 2025, is to mobilize private sector investments to make the livestock sector and the meat industry at large realize its potential. And we are committed in that. We've just launched our strategy, and out of that, what we need is a clear evidence or justification of the opportunity that is there in every node, in every part of the value chain, that we can actually present to the various private sector players and lobby them to be able to see the opportunity and invest in it. And we as KMT also have a good relationship with the KEPSA, which is the Private Sector Association. And many often when you start telling this private sector about the opportunities in livestock, they ask you, what is the evidence? What is the data you have? What is it? Show me and I'll show you somebody to invest. And this
master plan is going to provide us that opportunity and that justification, plus a roadmap of doing that.
AU-IBA, through the Livestock Development Strategy of Africa, supports Kenya Livestock Master Plan. What do you think about this strategy?
I listened at Sarah when she was presenting the strategy, and at some point I and my staff, Chris Simba, looked at each other because the objectives that she presented really resonates with our what we call the data that we've been reading, looking at in terms of the opportunity for Kenya. That strategy, I think, it's very relevant, and I think when I look at even the analysis we've done both here in Kenya, it resonates with what AU-IBA is doing, and I'm glad that AU-IBA and the Livestock Strategy Group is here to help us in this process.
I'm Dr. Sarah Ashanu Tusia. I'm the Project Officer Live2Africa at AU-IBA. This is a project, the first project that is implementing the Livestock Development Strategy for Africa at the continental level. Our main thrust is really to boost regional livestock value chains and also to develop systemic capacity throughout the livestock sector. We are also focusing on assisting member states to domesticate the livestock strategy for Africa.
Why is it important for AU-IBA to support this process of the prioritized livestock sector chain and data sources for the development of the Kenya Livestock Master Plan?
One of the initiatives that we're doing is assisting countries to move away from ad hoc planning to short-term planning and to move to medium-term and longer-term planning, where they have goals for how they want the livestock sector to develop. And to do this, we are assisting in a number of countries. Right now, the first country we're assisting is Kenya to develop its livestock master plan. And this is being done in partnership with, of course, the State Department for Livestock, but also with strategic partners, with ILRI, with IFAD, with CIRAD. For AU-IBA, this is important because it's part of our vision within the Livestock Development Strategy for Africa, that countries can harness their livestock sectors to really bring out their potential for both achieving development objectives like food and nutrition security, employment, boosting incomes, and also for economic growth. So we are assisting Kenya to develop its livestock master plan, and we are also assisting other countries. The first thing you have to do really is to make decisions, your objective decisions, on what will be your objective really for your livestock master plan. For Kenya, they have decided that they have 9 priority value chains, and a 10th is an option for others. But what they need to do is to be able to offer all 9 to stakeholders who have different interests, and also to their counties, because it's a devolved country where each of the counties has a government and they have resources. So to help them to choose which one of these 9 or 10 value chains will assist them to meet their own objectives, either as stakeholders or as county governments, they have to go through a prioritization, because you have a budget, a limited budget, and you want to really build certain livestock value chains. So you have to make some choices around that. So this is the tool that we have prepared for them to do that.
What are those opportunities the Livestock Development Strategy for Africa is offering to African Union member states?
Okay, but maybe I just say a little bit about this tool. The beauty of this tool is it allows you to set your development objectives or your economic growth objectives, and also to build into it domains. So your domains will tell you I want to focus on profits. I want to focus on people. So like employment of youth, employment of women, inclusion, protection, social protection, all this. You can make that decision. Or you want to focus on sustainability of your environment, or you want to focus on performance of that value chain. How can you build that performance? How can you make it a more competitive value chain? So you have those options to build that. After that, you also have options to develop specific objective criteria that now help you choose between value chains. Then you go into a method of scoring, and at the end of your scoring, you're able to produce this graphically. And when you have your graphics produced, then you can discuss them and make your decisions around which value chains. So it's a tool that can be used at national level. We have used it continental level to determine the value chains in each region, and it has been very successful. You can now use it at country level. You can also use it at county level, and even a group of stakeholders can use it. It can work for commodities. It can work for species of animals you want to work with. So you can use it at many different levels. It will help you to make an objective decision for where you should invest. Your second question?
Yes, I want to know what other opportunities this program gives to African Union member states.
Yes. We have had the distinct pleasure really to do some advocacy around greater visibility for the livestock sector. The African livestock sector is actually the second biggest sector, the second biggest livestock sector globally. Africa holds about a third of the world's livestock population. And yet, we are net importers of products, of commodities, livestock commodities. So we want to focus and see how we can change that. But one of the most important tools for doing that is actually an inclusion of livestock in the biannual report and in the scorecard. These are peer-reviewed mechanisms that go to our heads of state, and it makes the sector visible. So far, in our assessment, in the biannual report, biannual review report, and in the scorecard, livestock is not visible. Livestock and fisheries are not visible. So this program is working with partners, again, with ILRI and other partners, to make sure and to advocate that actually we have indicators that are livestock sector specific, so that the livestock sector will be far more visible in the biannual report and in the scorecard, so that when countries are reporting about their contribution to the Malabo Declaration, we can now go to specifically the contribution of livestock. I have to say we have already gone ahead and developed 3 indicators, and now they have gone to the level of now assessment at a continental level by the task force, the biannual review task force, and we hope that they will go through and be added to the 47 indicators that are being used right now.